What's going on, guys? I'm JAlLED. Shout out to everyone that's tuning in. I want to talk about Miles Bridges. You know, it's been a while since I've spoken about Miles Bridges. Well, apparently he's in the news again because he's filing a restraining order on his ex-wife, the one who, you know, he basically may have ruined his NBA career putting his hands on. And she showed all these bruises online, right? And after that, we didn't really hear much, but now apparently she is being accused of stalking him, and there's visual proof. There's visual proof that this woman, who was a victim, right, is now stalking this man. I don't know if it's because he done got another woman, you know, he done moved on, but the whole situation is toxic, as I thought at the beginning. I knew that this relationship had to be toxic. And it wasn't just Miles, it was her as well. All right. And we're going to get into this. It's according to TMZ. Miles Bridges claims domestic violence accuser is harassing him. Right? Is harassing him. Can you believe that? It's according to TMZ. NBA star Miles Bridges has filed a restraining order against a woman who accused him of domestic violence, claiming she's harassed him repeatedly and won't stop. And she won't stop. I want y'all to understand, man, this woman had this thing happen to her, right? And soon after that, I believe she went partying. She went partying soon after that, and she got some pushback, but there was also people defending her like, oh, why can't she go out and party? You know, even though she had all these bruises and she claims that he beat on her, right? I told y'all, these two probably beat on each other. Bridges spelled out his claims in new court documents obtained by TMZ Sports, alleging that despite a June 27th argument between the two that turned physical and ultimately resulted in the basketball player's arrest, Mychelle Johnson will not leave him alone. Y'all see that? Will not leave him alone. Now, this man was arrested for putting hands on her. You would think that a woman would steer clear of a guy like that, but not Mychelle. Mychelle says, F that. I'm going to go and either confront him or whatever. I told y'all it's probably because he got another woman. Okay? Nothing makes these women go crazy than a man moving on to another woman, even though this man was arrested for allegedly putting hands on her. Bridges says that on 3 separate occasions, including just 2 days after he accepted his plea deal to close out his criminal case with Johnson, she showed up to his house or places he's staying and harassed him, causing him emotional distress and anxiety. But this is a violent man, right? Y'all see this? Y'all see this? This is supposedly a violent man, according to the media. He's a violent man who's beating on his wife, but look at his wife. Look at her. What does she have in her hand? The first incident allegedly happened on October 12th in the docks. Bridges claims that he had been renting an Airbnb in Los Angeles when Johnson unexpectedly entered his side gate with their 2 kids. Bridges said in the documents that due to the ongoing criminal case with Johnson and the protective orders that have been put into place, he ran inside in an attempt to avoid her. Y'all see that? This grown man had to run inside to avoid her because there are protective orders. But that doesn't matter to these women. These women don't care about no protective order, even though she took out the protective order. She got a protective order on him, but she's showing up at his Airbnb with their 2 children to confront him, to fight him. She think he in there with another woman. You're not supposed to be around each other, Mychelle. Why are you showing up at this man's place? Are you trying to intentionally get him in trouble? Because that's what this looks like. He settled his legal situation and she must have been pissed. So she wanted to go and confront him knowing full well there's a protective order. If he's anywhere near her, he's going to be arrested. She knows this. So why are you there? You're there because you're just as toxic as he is. This is the same woman that was caught sending nudes to her IG on her IG story. She probably meant to send it to some other guy's DMs and ended up sending it to her IG stories, right? And in this marriage, this relationship, whole thing here, has gone downhill ever since, right? This relationship, whatever this is, right? It has gone downhill ever since. And I don't think it's a coincidence. I really don't. I don't think it's a coincidence. I think there could have been some things going on and might have escalated to where we are now. Bridges said in the documents that read through that. He claims though his door would not lock, so he had to hold it shut as Mychelle allegedly attempted to break in by swinging, I wonder what that was, swinging a hose nozzle at his home. People, what's going on here? This woman is supposedly a victim, but how are you a victim and you showing up at your ex's home and you're the one acting violent? You have protective orders against him, but you're showing up at his Airbnb to be violent. I mean, and she's the victim. She's the one that was being terrorized by this man. This ain't the behavior of a woman that was being victimized. I'm sorry. This is a woman who's just as violent as Miles Bridges is. Probably more. I would not be surprised if those bruises were for mutual combat, the way this is looking. Bridges says after she couldn't get in, she then stole his dog and left with their children. Oh man, he left the dog outside, man. This is toxic, man. What is going on here? We got two people who should not be around each other. We got two people, one of which is supposedly a victim that was victimized, right? She tracked him down, tried to confront him, tried to break into his home. This is a problem, people. This is why you don't rush to judgment. People rush to judgment with this Miles Bridges situation. And now we see the truth that she's toxic just as much as Miles Bridges is seemingly toxic in this relationship. She's toxic too. This chick came for a fight. Trying to break into, by the way, this is an Airbnb, which means he doesn't own it. She's about to try to destroy somebody else's property just so she can confront him. Why don't you go home and be a mother to your children? Why don't you go do that? Why are you trying to track this man down and confront him knowing full well that there are legal issues that are going on and he can't get caught up? It seems like he's holding up his end of the bargain. Nearly 3 weeks later, on October 31st, Bridges said in the documents that Johnson followed him and his friends home from an LA hookah lounge at around 2:30 a.m. and sat in his driveway with their 2 kids in her car, demanding he speaks with her. What? What? What are you talking? Listen. Why don't you, again, go home and be a mother to your children? You so busy worrying about what he's doing, because remember, you have protective orders against him. So why are you trying to get him intentionally locked up, which is what she's trying to do? Talk to you about what? You could talk through your lawyers. Why do you need to speak to him face to face? Or are you trying to get back with him? Because that's what this looks like. It looks like she wants to get him to come back to her. That's what this looks like. Because trust me, if it was the other way around and Miles Bridges was tracking her down and sitting in her driveway, y'all would be calling him all types of toxic. He needs to be arrested. Why is he not in jail? He's an abuser. He's an emotional abuser. He's a physical abuser. But what about her? This woman has her 2 children in the car with these foolishness. And none of y'all are going to call it out. Y'all going to ignore this story and act like it didn't happen. That's why I'm speaking about it. Because y'all going to act like this ain't happened. Well, it did. He claims he didn't want to due to the ongoing criminal case. Bridges said despite attempts from his friends and bodyguards to get her to leave, she refused and stayed parked there for nearly 6 hours before leaving. This woman is crazy. Yo, I think she misses him, and that's why she's doing this. Right? If you feel like you need justice, you go and handle it in court. Right? Go handle it on IG. She's tracking him down, trying to confront him because he left her alone like he was supposed to. Legally. On November 5th, 2 days after Bridges pleaded no contest, 1 count of felony domestic violence stemming from the June 27 incident to close out his criminal case, the 24-year-old former Charlotte Hornets star says he was forced to call the LAPD after Johnson showed up to his Airbnb and stood outside the home, antagonizing him and refusing to leave. Bridges said officers showed up and were able to convince her to leave without incident. Bridges, currently a free agent, is asking a judge to order Johnson to stay at least 100 yards away from him and have no contact with him or his dog. He wants his dog back. He wants his dog back. Get that man his dog. People, this is a classic example of 2 people who should not be together. And the sad thing is that the children are suffering from this. They have 2 children together who are suffering because both parents are just a toxic mix. And the mother is not helping this situation at all. This is very dangerous for her to show up at his Airbnb to be violent with this man and to confront this man when she claims that this man put his hands on her. She basically ruined his NBA career. This guy was on the cusp of getting a huge contract. I don't think Miles Bridges woke up that day and decided to put hands on her. I think she was probably violent towards him too. I think these 2 should not be together at all. But we've seen toxic couples break up and get back together. Look at Blueface and Krishan Rock. Even though, you know, they antagonize each other and they're not trying to break up from each other. But to me, these people should not be with each other. Miles Bridges has a long way to go to getting back what he lost. And if I was him, I would sue. Well, I would say he would sue her, but you know, this situation, to me, I think both played a part into it. And I don't know if he's going to be able to get back what he lost in his career, or if he's going to have to move forward in something else. But it's clear that she brings out the worst in him, and he may be bringing out the worst in her. So hopefully, for the children's sake, things can mellow out and not get worse. You know. So let me know in the comment section, let me know your thoughts. Like this video and share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And I'll see y'all on the next video.